Mikie Mahtook. Got the boys in. I got Lloyd. We got J. Mitch. We got Jackie Boyd.
He tried to jump up, and he might have knocked it in.
Good timing. Let's go. What a start to the Monday. I mean, I'm from Lafayette. My boys will come in and say,
oh, God. So me and Joe on the ground, I got Joe in the headlock. And he's sitting there, he's punching me in the stomach, like, punching me.
Here, is everyone sitting around? Who here thinks Chico can practice today after having 5 full beers? And he goes, Chad Jones, right? Chad Jones. 6 minutes. For 7 minutes, right? Chad's like, no, man, I don't think Chico can practice today. And I was like, I look back, I'm like, Jesus Christ. I saw you there. You're more fucked up than me.
On the spirit plane had some issues, I think. She was sleep farting.
You heard her or you just thought it was her?
I sat right next to her. I smelled it.
Whoa. What was that?
Time for the show.
Now, when you do go to spring training, are you going to bring your chinchilla and your turtle? My dad tell you about it?
The SEC is, God, they hate fat people. I mean, I get crushed for that. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man.
Hey, just the South, bro. You got a bunch of food down here. Like they should.
Players, look at Lloyd.
You know what, Lloyd?
You're looking for a recruiting coordinator, coach. I'm here.
He's like, I'll piss my pants right now.
No way.
We're wearing gray pants, long gray pants. He goes, I'll piss my pants right now. Welcome back to Mik'd Up. Today's Wednesday, July 24th. Big show for you. Green looks weird on the camera.
Well, it's the background too. It's like you're clashing, as the some of the community says.
Yeah, that's okay.
And the gray and the green.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
We'll put that on the list.
We got a big show for you today. A lot to talk about. Olympics start on Friday. Opening ceremony is on Friday. I'm confused. I think maybe that I heard that there's a soccer game maybe today for the Olympics. Now, I could be wrong, but that just doesn't make sense to have something start before the opening ceremonies. Again, don't know much about that, so I could be completely wrong. Tommy White and Gage Jump signed with their respective teams, which is the same team, the Oakland Athletics. Congratulations to them. Griffin Herring signs the Yankees for right under $800,000. Congratulations to him. And congratulations to all the other guys who signed in the draft or continuing to sign. But I want to hit on Tommy White and Gage Jump. They both signed with the same team, the Oakland A's. And if you know who the Oakland A's are, you don't know who the Oakland A's are, notoriously cheap team.
They can't do that anymore, Coach.
Can't do it as much anymore. You have?
No, they're going to Vegas. You can't be cheap no more.
Oh, no. No doubt. Well, hopefully they go to Vegas. They don't have a stadium there yet. They got to figure that whole stuff out. But
it's being built.
Big move for them.
Yeah.
Big move.
It's being built. It's a
big
thing.
move.
It's
But
a thing.
they're going to have to figure out how to spin, but they don't like to spin. And so they had drafted Tommy White in the supplemental round. He got paid as if he was a first rounder, $3 million was his signing bonus. Gage Jump got drafted in the supplemental.
Tommy was a straight up second round pick.
Second round pick, my bad. And Gage Jump got drafted, I think, in the supplemental second round. And he got paid almost $1 million over slot. He got paid as if he were a second rounder, I think. He got $2 million. And so congratulations to both of those guys. Congratulations to them getting the A's to come up and pay. Now you get a slot of money, an allotment of money, and every slot is worth X amount. I don't know if there's a penalty if you don't spend it.
I think the way it is it's literally just for that. Like I don't think you can spend it on anything. I don't say can. I think it's for that. Like the draft pool money you have is for that.
It doesn't roll over the next year.
I don't think it rolls over. I don't think any. So like you basically have to spend it. So like I think that's how it is.
Yeah,
like,
I don't know. And if maybe you can keep that money and you can use it for something else. Maybe some teams don't spend it all. But regardless of the reason, they both got overpaid for their slot. Not overpaid because they didn't deserve it. They definitely qualified and deserved it. I'm glad they got every single dollar they got. But in the pick that they got, it was more money than the slotted value amount for that. So congratulations to those guys. Football is right around the corner, and you know that it's hot outside when you start seeing camp fights happening around the NFL. Derek Stingley. You got mixed up with the quarterback stuff. Caleb
Williams and somebody else.
And the guy from USC. I mean, Bryce Young. Caleb Young. Great player. Yeah, right. That's what you would say, right? I do the same thing right now with Derek Stingley. I keep wanting to say DJ Stingley somehow. I don't know why. Just came to my head, but Derek Stingley Jr.
That works, DJ. Derek Stingley Jr. You could lie your way through that.
Yeah, I could figure that out.
I call him DJ. No, he's DJ to me. If you know him,
he knows.
Yeah,
let him know. He knows who it is.
You tight with him, it's DJ.
He gets in a little altercation with Dalton Schultz, who's the tight end for the Texans. Pancaked Dalton Schultz, but kind of a little bit of a sneak attack. Got him with a little bit of a lunge jump. Didn't look like Schultz was really ready. Fell on the ground, rolled over. They had a little bit of a kerfuffle.
Yeah.
But that's how you know football's right around the corner. That's how you know they're tired of playing against each other. And so that's the first one, first of many. You're going to see some, I imagine, on Hard Knocks when that starts. Which, speaking of Hard Knocks, episode 4, I think, was last night, shows the actual trade for Saquon, the aftermath of the trade with Saquon, and
I've been a trade just to let go.
Oh yeah, that's right. No trade, just to let go. No re-signing of Saquon, and they show kind of the process leading up to the draft. Next week will be the draft, where you could tell how much they love Malik Neighbors. You could tell how much they love Jaden Daniels. Like Jaden Daniels had them contemplating trading up to go and get him. And like they were talking about some of these other guys. Jaden Daniels was the guy. But they knew they weren't going to be able to get to number 2, so they didn't risk trading because they're not going to really get the guys they wanted. So they say they stay where they're at. Really interesting to see the conversations where they have a plan and then they execute it and they kind of stay put, and then all of a sudden things that happen that you didn't really plan for, like other random teams calling them, and they're like, they started talking about moving back a few times. It's just crazy how the dynamic of the draft changes based off who's got picked. So I thought that was pretty cool. But they ultimately went with Malik Neighbors. We're going to see that next. There we go. That's 2 out of 3 shows. He didn't do it last show.
That's a lie.
He didn't do it last show, but can't get on me.
The show as a whole doesn't have a clean sheet.
We should get a counter.
Yeah. I can put a ticker up here.
Yeah, we should get a counter.
Now I can. Revamped computer. Look at this man. Struggling.
You got it? You got it.
I didn't know where it was.
I'll ski.
So really cool to see that part of Hard Knocks. The other Hard Knocks is going to start probably a few weeks after that, talking about camp. So looking forward to all of the football, all of the news in football. Speaking of news, NCAA. Not football, which is probably the best thing that has NCAA attached to it.
The game.
But
Lloyd lit up like a Christmas tree just
now. The organization that is
board's back.
NCAA, they have voted, or they have changed the rule of amount of scholarship players or amount of scholarships that can be offered to players for each sport, and the amount of the roster spots that you're allowed to have. We talked about it last week when we were going through, hey, what's going to be the roster configuration whenever they come down with the new rule? What's the number going to be? They landed at 34. Right now, LSU currently has 41 guys on their roster. So that's going to be a lot of different schools, not just LSU. Interesting to see how they navigate that. But the positive side, actually, I don't want to say it's negative. The other side of that is college baseball is now allotted 34 scholarships.
33.4.
I thought it was actual 34 even. Why would it be?
It's always, baseball has to throw in that.
You sure? I
Yeah.
think you miscalculated the math.
No, I didn't. Are you talking about how many they added or how
Because
many they have
how
total?
many do they add? 22.3, right?
Yeah.
And how many do we have right now?
They have.
11.7.
Yeah, so it would have been 0.4. So
There
it's
should be
33.4.
There should be no points though, right?
This is what
I know,
Ross
but
Dellinger, who's
if
much
they're-
smarter than I,
I
reported.
know, but Ross said if you're increasing it by 22.3 scholarships, right?
I think they just they added 22.3, so 34 even.
Thank you.
Right on the nose. You can go to
I got you
Price
there.
is Right.
I got you there.
Yeah.
Right? So
I was
knew
thinking
I
22.3.
Dude, now I was like, how do you get a decimal after when making it to 10?
Look, I did some extra credit.
Okay.
I didn't go to
Yeah.
class.
All right. We got
if,
that.
if I can talk to you after, I'd love to see whatever I can do to help.
Anyway, that's the biggest thing is now LSU, college baseball can
many times
offer
I had that
everybody on
conversation?
their roster a full scholarship. It used to be that people may ask, why is that a big deal? Well, up until this point, baseball, which has a 40-man roster right now, which a lot of those guys are on scholarship, only had 11.7 scholarships to divvy up. So these guys aren't getting full rides. Now they're getting full rides. I think that's a big deal. So that's good on the NCAA for actually doing the right thing and doing the thing that needed to be done. Paul Skenes suffered his first career loss. Arguably one of his best games of the year.
But say, what are you doing that?
Arguably one of his best games. He almost threw Greg Maddox. He got into the ninth inning under 100 pitches. He went 8 1/3 through 97 pitches, which is wild. Lost 2-1. Gave up the second run in the top of the ninth. Looks great. Just continues just to navigate his way through lineups. Not necessarily, striking out more than one an inning, but not striking out 14 guys every game. Legit pitching his way to this thing. So even though he did suffer his loss, big outing for him. Did I say it's Ask Mikey and Mitch Wednesday?
Not yet.
I have not. It is Ask Mikey and Mitch Wednesday. So on this beautiful Wednesday evening, if you're a little wet, probably it's been draining too much out here. My puppy dog is
every day.
My puppy dog's coming out. The vibes aren't great. I need some energy. I need some sun. But if you're stuck inside because it's wet and gloomy, ask questions. We'll try to cheer you up. Try to be positive with the questions. Let's not be negative Nancy for whatever reason or not.
What's the lineup gonna be this year?
Okay, no.
We already got it. It's already been released.
So that
for
was
the number one team in the country.
That was interesting. We're not even get into. Let's not even open that can of worms because
it'll get opened up here in a
no,
second.
we're not doing it. We're not doing it.
And rugby sevens and soccer has started today.
See?
For the Olympics. Yes.
See, right. So,
do you think
it's
they're
weird.
happy they played before, and then you can kind of enjoy the
Opening
festivities, probably get a little.
Yeah, but you're not
loose.
just playing one game.
Yeah, I think if you win, that it's all brackets out. I don't think you're playing back-to-back days.
No, but day off maybe.
That's what I'm saying. Get to go to this
opening ceremonies would be not tomorrow. It's the next day.
Oh yeah, it's Friday. But if you play tomorrow, Friday off.
Yeah, I don't know. Weird that you would start any sports, but maybe they have to based off the way the brackets are set up in time.
Coach, let's be honest.
I don't know.
If it ain't Olympic Village, they ain't much.
Well, they're trying to do their best over there.
Well, I'm just saying, my point is day off.
Sports only. It's like a Catholic school.
You've been training for the last 4 years of your life. What you gonna go do? Drink tonight? No, they're not doing that.
No, they're not.
They would never.
They're not doing that.
No, they're not. But they're also not. Don't. I thought you was gonna try to get your ass. They.
I know the line.
They have put some uncomfortable sleeping arrangements to stop the perceived extracurriculars.
The allegations.
Yeah, that happens in the Olympic Village.
They're trying to stop us from having a super species like the boys. That's all nothing but compound V in there.
Yeah, right.
Just a bunch of Olympic babies.
So they
around.
did that by putting cardboard beds. Apparently the stores around that would sell mattress toppers there are sold out. That's what I heard that today. They sold out of mattress toppers.
Can you check a mattress?
No, I don't. But I think you can maybe roll up a topper.
You could check a mattress. It just have to be one of those unopened,
just a box,
brand new ones that you get.
Oh yeah, you could do that.
But you're probably not.
That's a good point.
You might not sleep on it the first night. It just depends on what time you.
You got to get lucky.
There's a lot of logistics in there.
But if
be real confident.
If they were, I think that what their intended focus was, what now it may be good in theory, but the unintended consequences, hey, you're actually making these guys are about to participate in an event that happens once every 4 years. Like, they've been training their entire lives for this, and you're going to give them inadequate sleeping arrangements because you're trying to stop something that's like, is it that big of a deal to try to stop that, as opposed to saying, hey, when will these guys be at their most rested and ready to go?
I don't know.
They're
making
I think
Go explore the city.
Yeah, it's fun.
Go around Paris. Get a hostel.
It's not a romantic city or anything.
Probably smells really good right now.
Not romantic at all.
No, nobody falls in love.
It's not called the. Is the city of romance?
I think I don't know.
Because I don't think Olympic Village is about romance. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
No,
it's just extra cardio.
I don't really. I'm not sure there's really much courting going on right there. If that's a thing.
I mean, I've heard it's.
What, the Olympics or France?
All of it.
Yeah.
All of the above.
That's probably why they probably were thinking ahead, like, we're in France. I know what happens here.
Yeah,
Might be the first time they do fall in love. Jared, be a romantic. I'll see you again in 4 years.
All right, let's get to the baseball conversation for a second. Let's get to the baseball conversation for a second. Are you shocked that the A's gave Tommy and Gage the amount of money they gave him?
I am not. The A's are going to do A's things. They found ways to, if I had to guess, talk the numbers down to other guys and other picks that they had, and I would imagine they didn't. I don't remember seeing any reportings of it, but I would imagine they didn't lose any of the draft picks. So once again, we talked about it. You got this pool of money, and that pool of money, I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, does not carry over to the next year, and I'm pretty sure it's not supposed to be used towards anything else. So you pretty much need to spend this pool of money. So I think they knew they were getting these guys. They got them at probably spots they didn't think they'd be able to get them at. So being able to talk some other guys down to get that number to what they were able to do that's the A's move of all A's. But I'm not surprised that they got more.
The better, obviously, transfers to come here. It's a shame that we didn't get to see more of Gage at the end of the year, because I think you saw what he was like the back half of the season. I think he was only getting better too in the postseason. So it would have been cool to watch him have like this Ty Floyd-esque run in the postseason where they make a run in Omaha and he's shutting people down. He's striking out 12 in a game. I think that probably would have jumped him up a few spots, but they saw that obviously and gave him the probably pretty much double what his slot was. So
it's funny how when the slot number comes out, the report on Tommy White changes a little bit, where it went from not power hitter, maybe professional hitter to, and then it was. But the glove's a question. The number comes out. It's like, showed tremendous upside on defense this year. Mm-hmm. It's like, if you watched, you knew that. The same thing probably would have happened with Jared Jones if he was able to find a number. That report changes once you start. If you had watched them.
You do realize what that all comes down to, right? Like, that all comes down to one old adage that we always talk about. You only need one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You just need one. Like, there's 30 teams drafting. You only need one to fall in love. And that one that falls in love is probably the ones that believe, hey, we can make this glove work. Hey, that glove did have some improvement. Hey, he can do other things other than just hit for power. That's probably, that's how that whole thing goes.
And with Jared Jones coming back, obviously, boost LSU's lineup a lot going into next year. So much so that the way too early top 25 came out. This means nothing other than for these conversations. And LSU.
Season of list right now. That's all it is.
That's all it is.
We're in list season.
Just filling time. But LSU is the number one ranked in the way too early top 25 for next year, with Florida behind them, then Florida State, then Clemson, then A&M, who also got a big return this year with Prager, who decided not to go into the draft. Not to sign and to go back to school. A&M, which felt like about 4 weeks ago, whenever that was in shambles. And now it feels like they're in a pretty good shape going forward. Shout out to Michael Early for kind of rallying the troops and making it a spot where guys want to come back to, and setting himself up with a pretty good roster. So they're preseason number 5 in this thing. Like I said, means nothing.
Yeah.
Other than for this conversation, for Lloyd to ask a question that he's thinking about, because it looks like he's about to try to.
No, I'm looking at the stream.
Oh, you don't like that either. I definitely don't like that face.
No, it's just bouncing. It'll be good. It'll settle in.
Okay.
We're good, baby.
Yeah,
we're cooking.
I lost my train of thought. What was I saying?
I think people, the pundits and the people that are talking about it that are making these lists understand that. The problem I have with that ranking for them is look, at the end of the season is where you really want to be number one. It's hard for me to believe that you could rank a team number one that had the mass exodus of players that they had leave through the draft and through the portal as well. Now, you bring in a whole bunch of talent, but just because you have a talented roster that has very little continuity, if we outside of like a couple position players
100%.
and obviously pretty much no arms that threw significant innings for him last year. It's hard for me to sit here and say, yeah, that's the number one team in the country. That team's got a long way to go. We can recognize that team's super talented and it's probably gonna be really good. But I don't know if I would say, hey, that's the number one team or the preseason number one team in the country.
I agree. I think the name carries weight. I think they see
yeah,
the
of course.
talent, and I think they see the talent. Right? It's similar to like when you watch Florida barely get in because their record is X, but no, everybody knows that they deserve to be in because of how talented they are, and they could go out and make this deep run, which they did. It's a matter of is the talent going to put it together, right? And if they're always going to be talented, so they should always be ranked preseason because all preseason is what do you think potential wise they could be. And with the talent, they're potentially really good. Talent doesn't. If they don't put it together to mesh, then you got an issue. You don't know that. So, like I said, it doesn't really matter.
And I guess on that Florida point too, like similar to Florida's situation, but you got to remember Florida also had the number one strength of schedule, which I don't know if anybody's been watching, but Nick Saban's been pushing for that to be a thing in college football as well now. Not just necessarily your record, and now becomes an arbitrary conversation if you're not the one that won the conference or whatever. Speaking to like the strength of schedule being what you can do, because if they don't have a strength of schedule metric, Florida doesn't make it into the last year's postseason, which means they don't never make it to Omaha because their record really was that bad. It wasn't that good.
Right.
So I do, that's a different situation.
And it's crazy you bring up Saban because I think we all expected when Saban got into when he retired and he got into the TV game, you were going to hear him try to fix the NCAA or do make the changes that everybody's been asking for. And now that he's gone, that's one of it, right? Like, hey, I didn't do this. This is why I didn't do it because I knew how y'all judged everybody. So we're not going to play super hard teams early on, mostly. We're going to play a cupcake in there and then play somebody else. He knew that he was going to be able to do enough in the SEC, and so I agree with him. He's like, you've got to play these teams in the SEC play way harder schedules than somewhere else. And then if you play, so those other teams have to play a tough out-of-conference schedule. I don't know. I think it's
Lincoln basically said it as if he was ahead of the curve, and he was. Don't get me wrong, but Saban also was able to, and I don't think that's just because of that schedule and the cupcakes that was on it. They had to still do what they did in conference, which is by far easily the toughest conference in the nation. He knew he was getting into November every year with 1 to 0 losses. So if I'm going to keep putting myself in that spot and really all I got to do is get to this LSU game and or maybe the Auburn game at the end of the year, and those are going to propel me to the SEC championship, which is going to give me the chance to say either I'm in or I'm out. And if I got 0 losses at that time, I may still be in. Then why on earth am I going to go and put all these marquee games on early for all the hype? I don't need all the hype. We're going to do what we need to do in conference. So, I don't think the conversation becomes the same for other teams, but there's 12 teams that gets in now.
Right.
It's definitely way more of the same than what it ever was before.
I agree. I mean, I think you're going to see him say more things, right? About
of course.
What needs to happen in the NCAA and the changes that need to be made and little tweaks here or there. I think ultimately that's really good for football. I think he understands kind of how football is going, and he's one of the greatest to do it of all time. It's hey, times are changing. Let's kind of tweak these things to make it kind of up to date.
I think it's funny, dude. We also look forward. The football season's right around the corner. We're looking forward to football season, and I can't wait until you get to week 8 to 9 this year, because if we think that conversation,
think that far, dude, that makes me sad.
No. I'm just saying, if we think that conversation that was loud about teams number, I don't know, let's say 4 through 7, maybe teams 4 through 8, the teams that all had the conversation to get into the college football playoffs. Wait until you see how loud that shit gets this year. Because now you're looking at 12 teams in, and you're probably going to be looking at teams number 10 through probably 20.
It was about the same.
They're going to have about the same argument to be able to get in. It is going to be a wild time.
Well, think about more spots, more conversations, right? Like you had these conversations
and more
about
losses
who got
that are happening.
stubbed
There's
and,
not
like,
going to be that many
right
teams with one or no losses that are
Right.
sitting in that spot.
Right.
That's why the conversation is going to be wild at that time.
Well, and you've seen Lincoln Riley actively try to get out of scheduled games that they scheduled, I guess, I don't want to say before he got there, but since he's been there where he didn't want to play these marquee games. And LSU has been on the opposite side of Nick Saban almost, where, I mean, look at this year where they have USC and UCLA as their non-conference games, where that is scheduling for fans,
Right.
Because you would much rather see Southeastern Grambling.
Coach,
Army.
I don't think they scheduled that for fans. I think LSU did that too, but I think they did the exact opposite in the same thing, where it's, bro, go look at since 2009 when Nick got there, what has been their record? They've always had to play them late in November. If we get beat by them, season's over. So why don't we start scheduling some of these early games against teams that are notable, that are good? That way we can also have that notch as a win. It hasn't really worked out the past 5 to 7 years on the best side for us, but I think a lot of that went into that as well. Like, yeah, obviously you're going to make more money on it too, but it was an opportunity to push yourself further just in case that game in November didn't go well for you.
And I think that the other conversation is whenever the Alabama did play a tough out-of-conference schedule or a tough out-of-conference team, it was week 2, right?
Yeah.
And so that was the other thing is he would put a cupcake as game 1. You kind of get a dress rehearsal. Then you have Alabama game. I mean, whatever the game is, game 2. LSU just decided, hey, we're going to come right out of the gate, and we're going to have the biggest game of the year, first game of the season. Everybody's going to be hyped up. You're going to be a little nervous maybe. Adrenaline's going to be out the roof. You're going to maybe be a little touch off. And we're going to go best game, biggest game of the year.
Yeah, it's it's not the, obviously I think Alabama will always hold
No,
that.
but
Yeah, but biggest game of the year for that week is always LSU has been involved in that
Right.
conversation. And I can think back to when Alabama has done it. They did it against USC when they came out the tunnel and they were like acting
And
like
that
got
was
dog walked.
52-6 or something?
Yeah, and it was an embarrassment. Then they did Florida State with DeAndre Francois, who got hurt and kind of ruined his career, but he was a stud at Florida State.
Yep.
That game was close, and then he goes out, and then you put in, I think Sean McGuire was the quarterback, and it was like you put lunch meat in front of a dinosaur.
McGuire. The last name McGuire has been in the news lately.
Lizzie?
Oh, Reese.
No, not her.
Oh, was it?
Pitcher's clear and brawl.
Oh, that was.
Pitcher said something
I mean,
of his past.
he had that one ready to go.
Yeah.
Like, that was in his back pocket.
Yeah.
I mean, I think everybody in the know
How do you
that's like in the scouting
And
report
honestly,
at this
like
point.
this guy went back and got that. That's been a few years away from. That's probably been 5 or 6 years ago.
Like I said, that's probably in the scouting report at this point.
People don't forget.
And like I know it's probably been and I've always been curious. Has that been the conversation behind the scenes? I know that it has because I've played when it happened.
What do we got on the
like,
scouting
when he
report
was-
today? He doesn't like heaters away, and also
Look, Reese McGuire. I'm not saying. I'm not even gonna tell you what he did. Just go look it up, and
it's not hard to find.
it's not hard to find.
It's not hard. To find.
John Boy didn't even have to do that one.
No.
That was pretty much. I'm saying this with my
Yeah.
chest.
Yes.
Those are fighting words. You just got to wear that.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't
Sure
mean to
he
cut
did.
off the conversation about football.
Oh, no. I was just saying, like, whenever Alabama has been in that mode of we'll play an interesting, whether it be week 1 or week 2 game, like they did it last year against Texas and lost.
Yeah.
And then that's where you see, like, Nick Saban tried to avoid these situations to where you would look at their schedule and be like, they don't play anybody. And
Right.
now that they're in the SEC with no conference now, or no division, they're not going to be able to get that break every year. You're just going to – it's up to the powers that be of how they schedule you. And it feels like they got a little bit of a break, but there's also going to be a time when you look at your schedule and you go, this is brutal. Like if you're Billy Napier in Florida,
Yeah.
like the odds came out
You actually
for –
have really 2 brutal schedule parts. Yeah, the early part of your schedule, I think, for Florida is a little tough, and then like the last 5 weeks is impossible.
the last 5 weeks are – and
So you got a
they
little
start
bit in
off
the
with
middle.
Miami.
Yeah.
And it's like there's no breaks for him, and there's the list of coaches that are on the hot seat and the first coach to get fired for college football, and he is high up upon the list.
So the first one to get fired.
Plus 400 for Billy Napier to lose his job.
Before the season
I
ends.
am sniping Sam Pittman on this list.
You think?
Oh, yeah. It's just dead, buried.
Yeah, because you think Billy Napier maybe has a chance to like if he has a good like
That's-
they have a chance to have a good year.
are
Arkansas has
they
no
going to be
chance.
bowl eligible or not?
I think that would save his job. If you win 6 games, I
Yep.
think the narrative has already been so pushed for
You know
Florida.
what? You know what's crazy? I think they do.
I do too.
I do.
I think the over-under is 5.5.
Yeah, I think they do. But what's USC ranked? 25?
Plus 2,500 for Lincoln to get the axe.
Oh yeah, I forgot you're still on that. Brian Kelly's not on there, which is great news.
Yeah, first time in a while. Let's see where USC is.
I think they're like 25.
Internet is.
Yeah, we're at the. I'm gonna have to call the internet people to come get our own internet. I think.
That would be ideal.
Yeah,
USC. I don't see them. They're not top 25.
They may not be ranked.
Shocker.
Staying on the football news though, that Jonah Williams kid's in town this weekend, right? It's a Bayou Splash recruiting event. I always want to say Bash, but it's Splash.
Oh, it's at the pool, baby.
And it's the big recruiting event of the summer for LSU. So apparently there's an impressive amount of people there, right? That are the type of recruits that are going to be there. One of those is going to be Jonah Williams,
who our guy Billy Embody from On3 just put his official pick in for his On3 RPM meter
in August, right?
And he moved it up, and so now
he's ready.
It looks like this Bayou Splash and with everything, and he said that LSU has put together a very impressive NIL package. So I'd imagine if you combine,
you got it from both sides.
Yeah, you're getting tag teamed by just great things.
Damn.
And so he's just yeah
a little early, dog.
It's like he got game.
Yeah.
But except they're both from the same school. Everybody's seen that scene.
I got it.
But it's a basketball movie, Mom. That's how recruiting works. Had to redo my board.
But yeah, I mean, he's a big-time recruit. He's probably going to get drafted out of high school in baseball, I would imagine, just because of if he is that skilled as a baseball player and that athletic, he's going to get a shot, maybe, or at least be talked about. Maybe not drafted because I think he's going to go to school. But yeah, having Jay and Brian Kelly and having the NIL work together and say, hey, we're going to get this done, I think that's a pretty cool thing. I think that's a good for the future of the recruits. And I love that we're seeing more two-way guys too. You lose that for a little bit, then you're starting to see more guys do both, two different sports. I mean, you got Trey Green's playing basketball too.
Right.
So I think that's a cool thing.
Management becomes super key for these kids, and understanding that you have to devote a ton of time, a ton of effort, a ton of everything that you have in you goes into doing these things, and it becomes a tough, grueling schedule. But up until this point in their life, this is all they know anyway, so it's not something that's super different for them. It just kicks up to another notch when they get here.
Here's my question. If he knows he's already going to commit to LSU, why move it up? Why not move it up closer?
I mean, I think you give everybody a chance to, you want to sit at the table with everybody. Like the Bayou Splash is usually when you get, like around this time, LSU will get a lot of those, 2026 commits to start rolling in, and that's when you try to hold on. Like this when you got a bunch of the guys that, like Harlan Berry went last year, DeCorian Moore committed after the Bayou Splash. Like you get those initial pops.
Yeah.
And then it kind of comes back to open season again. But the first impression, when LSU rolls out the red carpet for you, I think it used to be at Brian Kelly's house, and he has like they made it seem like he had like the Happy Gilmore. Billy Madison pool where you're like riding jet skis.
He's
in the pool.
he's right on the lakes, dude. His house is like one of my favorite houses in Baton Rouge.
Do you hold the Bayou Splash for your team?
No, it's not an option.
You don't get to do these extracurriculars over there.
No, we just got a hard sell, soft sell, sway. We're getting there. I watched an hour video last night. Back in it. YouTube. I was waiting for the real guys that are grinding on this that don't.
So you watched actual like live streaming of it?
Yeah, of how to recruit because I wasn't doing it right. There's too many options. It's like playing World of Warcraft.
Bro, y'all do. And I know this. A lot of people have said this, but like, you ain't just playing the game.
No,
there's more off of the field than on the field.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, you spend more hours in the game, like doing all that than actually playing the actual game.
College football game has been that for a long time. I think that's why people loved it so much.
Yeah.
Because of the recruiting and how you can kind of keep a season going. I think that's why people, for gamers, I really do think that's why they were on college football for so long and kind of like off the Madden kind of version of it, because Madden was kind of wash, rinse, repeat. It wasn't that much new stuff. I think gamers have really loved college football because of the ability to do that.
Yeah,
not
and then
just
you
the
saw
gameplay.
Madden, you saw Madden start to do the GM thing where you have like salary caps and you can like create
hot
dynasty.
dog prices.
Yeah,
You can do like owner's mode where you can set like hot dog prices.
Yeah,
really
right.
low.
Wasn't
So
there
I
like
think
an
it's cool.
owner's game?
Mm-hmm. And then there was an NFL head coach game where all you did was call plays.
Yeah.
And
wow,
like,
that's kind of cool.
Like sign free agent, so it's kind of like the dynasty part of it. But
Right.
there's people that do the dynasty. They don't even play a game. They simulate the game and then go straight back to recruiting.
Yeah.
Wow,
That's what I'm saying. Like,
crazy.
people that like are diehard NCAA football guys, like they do it not necessarily because of the gameplay, because of the everything else. So
I had
let me
no
ask you
idea
that
what I got
surprised me.
myself
How-
That
into.
didn't surprise me at all.
how likely would it be for you to like not even for us to stream it, but for you to bring over your console and let us play it one
Tell
day
them stop
in here?
being cheap as shit and get
Yeah,
one.
I mean,
I just want to see it. I want to test drive it before I go spend.
why
money
don't
on
you
one.
go to Walmart, put your grubby little hands on that console that they have there,
Hey, you gonna be
stare
in the
up
air-
at the screen like this,
I'm
and
not
go
doing
play
that.
it. Yeah.
You're gonna be in the airport this weekend. I think when you land in Dallas, there's like a game console.
Yeah,
thing
you can
somewhere.
rent it out
No.
for 30 minutes.
Nope. Okay, fine. You don't want to share with your teammates? It's bullshit.
I'm gonna do it here. We don't have it. We don't have the.
I know. I just wanted to see. I'll come to your house.
Yeah, I'll come to your house.
So you bring it to my house.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow. No,
Maybe the dog sit.
Put it on your TV.
I think you got fired. You got fired from that job. No dog
It
sitting.
was so much fun.
So you expect LSU to get some commits, like following this?
Yeah, certainly, and like you mentioned, Jonah Williams, but it's a lot of the guys that are kind of already in the boat, and then there's some. They've done a good job, but it's all about the next year's class, which I haven't really delved into as much because I don't look that far ahead. I'm just trying to get the guys that you have committed for.
Let's talk about this year then.
Yeah,
You don't want to look that far. Let's look down. Let's talk about now.
they've done a great job. They have the #1 class in the country.
They have the #1 class in the country, and they have a team that I think is has a chance to make a run, right? And this is an optimistic Mikey. This is like, I think it all relies on Nussmeier. I think we're in consensus in here, right? That we think he's going to be good.
Yeah, I do. I think.
Would?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be good. I don't think you need to be Jaden Daniels in that offense next year to have 10 wins because I don't think you're gonna get the 120 best defense this year.
Right.
I think there's going to be a little bit of regression to the means, if you will, offensively, but I think the defense will be that vastly improved simply off of them just being able to play alignment and assignment football much better than what they played last year at all.
When does stuff start ramping up for them?
What camp starts which day? Did we say the 1st of August?
I believe so.
I believe so. Somewhere around there. So, like, they got a couple days still.
Yeah, they got a week before.
Yeah, they got a couple
it
days
takes,
still.
So right now they're still just conditioning and working out.
They're at the end of it right now, pretty much. But yeah, I do think he's going to be the caveat when it comes to the SEC is, and it's so weird to me in my mind because I've seen this thing for so long. I feel like for so long they've structured the playoff changes around it not being, and it's not necessarily just for that, but it's been structured around not being SEC dominant, right? And they structured it a way this year where you realistically have to be basically one of the top 3 SEC teams, the way they're structuring who gets in as the top 12. And maybe in a great year, there's a 4th team that gets in as well. But that's the only take back in a sense of, will they be in that top 12 by the end of the year because of how it's structured? But I do think that they have a chance to be one of the best 12 teams in the country by the end of the year.
Yeah.
And that's why you get into the conversation of why Lincoln Riley wanted to avoid this game, and LSU continues to have it because you essentially put 2 near pitfalls on your schedule. Like you don't know what UCLA is going to be. We'll get into that probably near the end of the show, but when you have just like marquee names on your schedule, like it's cool to have a home and home with UCLA, and that's how it was scheduled. You missed the home and home with Texas whenever the COVID whatever happened, and you weren't able to kind of have that game again after a year where it felt like there was a real like sense of a rivalry brewing between LSU and Texas. And like I said, whenever it gets to conference play now, you probably don't have to schedule that way. I don't know how much you can do to avoid it because it feels like these games are booked in like 2045. You're going to be playing.
So the LSU plays Nicholls State, right? Is it Nicholls?
Mm-hmm.
And then, I mean, there's like they play the SEC schedule, and then they have the 2 non-conference. Like, how many other games do they have to play against
It's Nichols, South Carolina, in the UCLA game. I would imagine. Do you have to play?
Right. So you only have one. You have 2 bye weeks now, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And so they only play one like cupcake or one team on the schedule that's like not great.
Nichols in South Alabama.
South Alabama, so 2. Okay.
There's always like one near the beginning and then one in the middle where it kind of sets you up for, all right, take a breath.
But some teams may be playing 3.
You can. We kind of talked about it before. You can for sure. The conversation will start at some point this year. I'd probably say give it another 3, maybe 4 years coming down the pipe. But the conversation is going to come to, because we've seen it happen in the past. We can go all the way back to, I don't know, the years when Auburn was, 11-0, 12-0, and they didn't even get to go to the national championship game.
Oh, it was a Ronnie Brown, Cadillac Williams.
Yeah, it's in Jason Campbell days. Like
Wow.
They're going to have SEC teams who are going to have every bit of the resume that says we belong, but there's going to be a mid-major and or smaller team that's undefeated and that gets in because they were ranked higher and they're the second team in. They got to put them in because they got less losses than this SEC team, and then they're going to get their doors blown off.
You're going to have an 8-4 SEC team that gets jumped by a team that has 2 losses because
and they're going to get their doors blown off.
Yeah.
But the strength of schedule conversation is going to come, and I promise you it's going to start at some point this year. But just watch how this thing plays out. It's going to start coming down a lot because we've all seen these LSU teams, for the most part, like start picking up at the end of the year, and then you take that loss to Alabama, and everybody's like, the wind is out of the sails at that point.
Right.
And nobody feels like, oh, we have something to kind of keep going for. So it's like, not just LSU, but this conference, because of how strong it is, when you get to late October and November, watch that conversation start kicking up this year.
Yeah. I'm looking at this roster. I kept saying off the air that Ricky Collins was like the backup, and I forgot they brought in the kid from Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Yeah, Swan.
Yeah, I'm shocked that Collins hadn't.
And
I guess you can't really do. There's no reason to do it right now because.
Yeah, they brought in Swan because of Ricky Collins is pretty much as unproven as you can be for being a second-year player. He redshirted. He got some time. But if you bring in an A.J. Swan, it's somebody that has played 3-4 years and started multiple games in the SEC. It's like, at least it's competition. It's somebody that if it gets like third quarter, Nuss is out. Like, do you really want this to be your first snap?
There you go. I think for both sides of it, it made a lot of sense for him to be here. I think for the LSU side of it, you don't want, like you said, you don't want 2 games into it, Nuss is hurt, and now you have to go with kids who don't have any experience in this league. For the other side of it, for those kids, you're thinking, well, I know you only brought him in here for insurance reasons, really. I can beat him out. And if I can't beat him out, I can learn and kind of keep going forward because he's not the future, if you will. So I can see them still being here right now. I just don't know where that's going to go going forward and how far and how long that's going to go because obviously you have the Bryce Underwood signing who's, somewhat of the future, if you will, kind of looking at it. And you could possibly have Nuss for 2 years as well.
Right, I think that's the thing people forget about.
Yeah.
Right?
Just like they did with Jaden Daniels.
So you think he's one? No. Like, I expect him to be here for 2 years. I hope he gets balls out and goes after this year. But like,
Coach, he's here.
I'm expecting.
I'm telling
him
you
to
right
be
now,
here
he's here for 2 years. Unless this man, he's got to throw 45 touchdowns for me to be like, there's a possibility he's leaving.
Yeah.
Because the NFL
that's
model.
the next question. Do you think he can do that?
Yeah, I think he can, but like you got to understand, like the NFL model where it is right now is they see so much of the power in guys who have an extensive list of starts in college.
Yeah, right.
And,
25, I
and
think
12,
they say, right?
13, that 1 year. If you go look back at guys that have probably less than 20 starts, guys that pretty much have like 1 year as a starter, and their track record of success in the NFL, it's not very high. Yeah. And it doesn't matter how high of a pick they were. It's just not very good. So I think at this point now with, the pro game seeing the other side of it, how long quarterbacks' careers go, they want to see guys get out there and have experience and get it because they don't feel like they need to have them right here. But they do feel like when I get you here in the NFL, you pretty much need to start from day one because of the money that's out there in it.
Well, so, look at how high they're drafting. I mean, these guys are talented, obviously, but look at like these guys are older as well. Like Joe Burrow was an older older guy coming out of college. You've had multiple
Jaden
5 years.
Jaden was older.
Right. So you have all these guys who are a little bit older but have the snaps and have the experience, and so those have translated quicker than some of these other guys. I mean, Josh Allen was there for what? 4 years, 3-4 years.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just 1 year and gone as much anymore.
Yeah.
Brock Purdy,
1 year as a
Right,
starter.
4
Obviously,
years.
because Nuss
Yeah,
has
right.
been here for a while, but 1 year as the general under center, like it just doesn't usually translate very well to the pro game. But as far as for can he get to the 45, 40 plus, I think it's well in the picture of him getting the 40 plus. Will he get there? I don't know. We'll see. I do think I wouldn't put it out of the realm of possibility because of his relationship with Joe Sloan, because of his time that he's had in this system. And let's be honest, they still have a great line and they still have a good group of weapons to throw to and disperse the ball to as well.
I think people are going to fall in love. He's going to have a great start. I think people are going to fall in love with his arm, and there's going to be a conversation next year, I think, for him to get drafted decently high. Like, I think that's what's going to happen because, these guys love stuff you can't teach. Be able to, like, kind of sling it, especially if he shows that he's kind of reined it in. I don't know. I mean, I think I'm expecting him to be there for 2 years, but.
The only thing I would say is.
But if you were to talk about the stuff you can't teach, if that goes to the tune of him throwing 33 touchdowns and 11 picks.
Well, as I'm saying, see if he can prove that he toned it down, not having the interceptions.
I mean, what's to prove? You still got to go out there and do it. So, if you hadn't done it and you didn't put it on tape that you can't make those decisions correctly, that pushes your draft stock down.
Right.
Not just because you can make every throw on the field.
No, I'm saying that he's showing that.
Who's doing?
Like if he goes, they're gonna fall in love with his arm. But if he can show that he has toned down, and he does make the right decisions.
So then that's my point. If he tones it down and can do all those things, he's going to throw 40 plus touchdowns.
Oh yeah.
And at that point, I wouldn't be surprised if he's gone.
That's what I'm saying.
But my point is if he throws for 30 touchdowns and 11, 12 picks,
I agree with you.
That conversation, he's probably back here next year.
100% agree with you.
So that's where I'm at. Yeah.
No doubt.
What are you saying, Mark?
I am looking up the mocks for the 2025 quarterback class, and that's where I think that there is a viable option where Nuss would look around and go, ain't that many dudes out there? And you see how many teams are quarterback hungry, especially, you talk about Hard Knocks, especially with the guys in the top 6, 7 picks of the draft.
Those guys are going to be looking for something potentially.
And you would think the Giants thought they had a quarterback, but they're like, we could still – I mean, he even said it on the show. He's like, you take a quarterback every year. That's what the model is, I guess, for the NFL, but – he was looking around going, I paid Jalen Jones all this money. I'd had to bring him in and have the conversation. Like, look, we're looking around. If we move in and go, I didn't want him to be surprised if he saw Jane Daniels sitting at the lunch table on Tuesday. And you see how quarterback hungry and quarterback starved they are. And so don't be surprised if he puts up 35 and 8.
What's the list?
This internet.
Oh, so I thought you had it. I thought that's what you're reading.
Here we go. So it is, as it stands from NFL Mock Draft Database is the first one that came up. So Carson Beck, Shadur Sanders, Jalen Milroe, Quinn Ewers, Will Howard, Garrett Nussmeier. So he is the sixth guy listed.
And I saw, actually, it's funny you say that. I saw a mock. Bleacher Report.
He's better than Will Howard.
Jalen Milroe was projected in that one at 7 overall. Will Howard's projected 21st overall in that, which I thought was crazy. I don't know where Beck was, but I mean, those are all like really high. I didn't know Jalen Milroe was looked at like that.
I mean, of course he would be.
I just thought he was like looked at as an athlete. I didn't know if they're gonna.
They're expecting it.
He got a lot better towards the back end.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I'm not surprised at all that that's where he's looked at. I'm not surprised. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he jumped everybody and got to the number 1 spot by the end of the year.
Kind of like Anthony Richardson,
but a much better, a much more proven one too.
Right.
Like I wouldn't be surprised with not one bit.
Yeah, and I think there's maybe a little bit of not only did he get better, but in that offense that DeBoer is bringing over.
Yeah, well, we saw what happened over there in Washington.
Right, where it's like Penix, you just like I think he came from Indiana. Nobody expected him to be a top 2 round pick whenever it's like coming off 2 ACLs, right. Like he's injury riddled, goes out and runs a 4.6
off of the system that he was in last year, which we all know was not very good.
Right.
Oh, in Alabama?
Yeah.
I was ready to say. I thought you were talking about Penix.
No.
You're going to see the full array of what Jalen Milroe can do. They're going to let him.
Yep.
He's going to uncork it, and he's got weapons everywhere, and that's why, like the Alabama, like fodder of like, oh, they're going to fall off. Like I know it's not Nick Saban, but the offense is going to be their probably, which looks a little bit like a more of what you're going to be leaning toward when you watch Alabama football.
I think if anything's going to fall off, it's going to be defensively.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like you used to think of Alabama football like Nick Saban, hard-nosed defense, big guys everywhere, 5 stars. I think the recruiting might change a little bit in that regard, where like I want to go play in that offense, which is what LSU did, but you can't have that drastic of a.
I would rather the defense be nasty and the offense just be good, as opposed to the offense be super nasty and the defense just be kind of whatever. You know what I mean? I'd rather it the other way, so it makes them.
I don't know, Coach. I'd rather the way it is right now. I do. Don't get me wrong. You got to play some defense to win, but go look at your past few national champions, bro. If you can't run it up on the offensive side, you're not gonna win.
Yeah.
Michigan's the outlier.
Exactly. And they dominated that game too, which is weirdly, it's really not gonna happen. So like I do think you need it's because of how the rules and how the game is played now and how things are called now. It's so tailored to an offensive
right.
So subjective. Put the ball in the air and see what happens.
Yeah. So like if you're gonna stretch me with all these pre-snap motions and if I can't put hands on you and if all these things are going on, I don't care how much defense we got. The offense is playing kind of a little bit ahead right now. So to be a really good team and to win, you can see it. Do go look back. All of these offensive are explosive offenses. So I do think you obviously still want to recruit the same way, but hey, at the end of the day, if you can't score, you're probably not going to win that thing. That's how it's going to go.
Yeah, a lot of
Don't
those.
change my mind. I'd rather have the offense too.
Well, that's what I'm waiting for somebody to go almost like Michigan, where it turns that once everybody's going this way, we're going to go against the current and be like, they're a hard team to stop. You heard Nick Saban talk about, like, we didn't even know they got in a huddle. Like, we didn't prepare for them to get down and 11 guys circle around the quarterback and start getting ready. So we're waiting to have to make our defensive call, and we could have done that differently because we had to wait for them to line up, and now they're
ready to go.
And they're ready.
Yeah.
And so that's where I'm waiting for somebody to kind of do that in a way. Like, I don't think I want to see it at LSU because everybody's scarred from that brand of football.
Well, that's how trends work, right? Like, you have, they do things a certain way. You have to do something to adapt. You got to do something differently to make it different. And sometimes you kind of just go backwards and forwards, and it's just kind of like
you got to revert to the mean.
Exactly.
I don't. I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be real. I don't really think that they reverted to the means. I just think that when we finally saw them play a team like Alabama, we finally realized that they are supremely talented, a little bit more than kind of some of these other teams were. And I think they played a lot last year, and they reminded me a lot last year of the year before's model of Georgia, where they were just so dominant. They didn't have to spread you out. They didn't have to throw it down the field, but they were going to dink and dunk and drive it down your throat and do what you thought they were going to do on third and short and still convert and keep moving the ball up the field and play dominant defense on the other side, and they were just going to beat the life out of you.
Yeah.
I think that's what they were doing in that league, and they weren't really tested. And we didn't give it any credence because it's like, oh, well, it's that league. They're not that good. And then they did the same thing against Alabama. They did what they wanted. They pushed them up and down the field. Yeah. They did what they wanted. They made plays when they had to throw the ball, but they played the game that way, and I think that's what they ended up doing, which we hadn't really seen that much, but I don't really think that they tried to change it. They just were. That's what they did. That was the Harbaugh
football.
Yeah, there you go. That was a Harbaugh model.
Yeah. And that's why I'm interested to see with the transition to Nuss. You'll probably see a little bit more of that from LSU, where it's Caleb Jackson, like you got a stable of backs, Caden Durham, Josh Williams, obviously, where it's probably not going to be look to pass first, but run to set up the pass, and then that's when you get hit over the head, or let Nuss, who I think is getting a little bit underrated his ability as a runner, where I think he'll be able to stretch you out on some like 3rd and 5s and 3rd and 8s, be able to kind of run out of bounds a little bit.
Yeah.
I heard somebody compare him they brought up like the Joe Burrow, Matt Flynn, obvious white guy comparison. I think he's got that skill set to where he can like improvise. I don't know if he
can get out of the pocket.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be as
scheduled of a runner. He's not a statue.
Yeah,
he can run. He can get a 4 or 5 yard first down.
He's not a statue. Yeah. They're not going to sit here and schedule reads and read options for him all day, but he's not a statue. He can get out. He can move a little bit.
I think he proved that a little bit in the bowl game too.
Yeah, and all of what he does to improvise and make plays, like you can't do that if you don't have speed or agility or lateral quickness. He has all of those things. And I think you'll see him tuck it on a couple like read option, and he'll keep it. And you'll be like, oh shit, all right.
Unpopular opinion. I personally think that this offense takes off into that different stratosphere if you got somebody like Caleb Jackson who can graduate to that next level. Like if he can start being a 3-down back, if he can start being a bigger part of the pass pro, his ability with the ball is, we kind of saw that at the end of the year. It's goofy.
Yeah.
Goofy. So if he can kind of get more intertwined in this offense and become more of a weapon on all of these downs, I do think that this offense takes a significant step forward from what you thought was going to be a Nussmeier-led offense going into the year.
Agreed. Let's ask Mikey and Mitch. Do we have any questions?
No.
No questions.
No questions.
Okay. Thank y'all.
Great. I can check Twitter. Let me check Twitter.
We may have some on Twitter. I was just had to throw it out there because it is Wednesday.
Yeah, but once you kind of give them a little nudge, some of the questions come in. We have one if you want, just to.
What is it? Is it worth asking?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, Don Tito from New York City. Hey, Mikey. Related to
Hey,
MLB.
Mikey.
Hey, Mikey. Related to Major League Baseball, what is your best time with each team you played for?
Wait, say it again.
Hey, Mikey.
Oh.
Well, what is your best time with each team that you played for in Major League Baseball?
What was the best time? Tampa. We went to. We had a bunch of times, but one that stands out. We went to Cuba actually. We played the Cuban national team, and we kind of got to tour the city.
You played the Cuban national team a lot, huh?
Yeah.
Did that for Team
This
USA?
one wasn't the real one though. This wasn't the good Cuban national team. And so we played them in an exhibition game, but we got to go. That was pretty cool. And then for Detroit, honestly, that whole first year experience of being around those guys, because a lot of those guys are gonna be Hall of Famers. It was a really cool. My favorite season in the big leagues was 2017. So that was probably my two most. All right,
I got 6 on Twitter.
Wow. On Twitter?
On Twitter.
Look at Twitter coming in clutch.
Jackie Boy put it out there. No, you're going to love these. Go for gold. GEAUX. Number 4. What's your dream upgrades for the box besides what has already been announced?
We're not answering that.
Did you see the new video board for LSU football?
Yeah. How
That
good
thing's
does that look?
massive.
I want to see them test the lights. I want to see what the lights are.
Wait, you don't want to give your dream upgrade for the box?
What are those?
A dome. Put a dome over it.
Retractable roof would be
Yeah.
sick.
That's
That
my
ain't
dream.
happening, Coach.
That would make Jay Johnson would
That
sleep a
ain't
lot
happening.
better if he didn't have to
Y'all
worry about the
tripping.
weather.
Y'all tripping. That ain't happening.
You said my dream. I mean,
I could dream big.
yeah.
I like to see him put a berm or something. Just enclose that outfield,
Yeah,
make
that
it
would
look
be
like
cool, too.
a stadium. That open area that's in right center and kind of a little bit in left center. Just close that in a way, berm, maybe a catwalk that goes across, something that just connects the two sides and makes it
Yeah, I
part
like
of the
that.
stadium. I would like to see something
I
like
think
that.
we're on board with that.
Oh, and I guess maybe my dream. Here's my dream upgrade. Seat back all over the entire
That'd be great
stadium.
too.
Bro.
Seatbacks.
Get rid of the bleacher look. I get nostalgia of the old box. Blah blah. Seat back, bro.
Yeah.
That's my two.
Loosen up the security up top.
That's not an upgrade. It's not a stadium upgrade.
Jared Mullet Realtor. Sold by Jared. Sold SEAUX. LD. What are y'all's opinions on the scholarship numbers being increased? And should baseball have gotten a bigger increase?
How much bigger can it go?
Yeah, so
It's
bigger.
the roster.
They have 34 scholarships to 34 roster guys. I think that's good. I mean, everybody on the team could be on scholarship. I think it's much deserved. I mean, it's long overdue. 11.7 scholarships in a sport like that is ridiculous.
And that felt like that was never going to change for a long time.
Yeah, and a lot of things in NCAA is.
But
all the
did it
stuff
get
they've been
increased
standing
to
on.
like 11.7? People are like, oh, hell yeah.
Yeah,
Wasn't it like
over, I don't
8?
know. Well, yeah, it was crazy.
I like it because I do think it will even the playing field. Like when it was still at 11.7, you basically had to, especially over the past 5 years, I would imagine they basically had to do a lot of selling in the sense of we can't give you scholarship, but we can give you this NIL. So now a lot of these kids will be able to come on full scholarship. So it evens that part of the playing field a little bit now. And then now you got to go do, the rest of the other stuff. But I do like that it allows you to kind of really fill out the roster the way you need to be able to fill it out and not have to try to do salary cap gymnastics with 11.7 scholar. That's just crazy.
Much necessary.
Crazy.
Much
Crazy
needed.
talk. Crazy talk.
Do you think that other schools view it the same way that LSU does? Or
No,
do you think
like
that
Vanderbilt doesn't like it.
they're- Right.
Vanderbilt had the private little deal education.
Well, that thing's
thing.
done too now, so they can't do that. Now this is even.
Oh, so
they
they
don't
can't
love
get
it.
endowments
Yeah, I think
to
that's
the,
been done for maybe a couple of years. Not very long, but like a couple of
That
years.
used to, that's how
Yeah.
they used to get everybody.
And yet everybody would complain about that. But I'd imagine outside looking in, even in the SEC, they're probably going, fuck, this is going to help LSU probably more than anybody.
Yeah, I mean, but I think they all these big schools go through the same stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't think LSU more so than any of the other ones. I think it's good for all of it. I think everyone's gonna be better for it. And
But so you got to remember, like the cost of tuition at LSU and the cost of tuition at Vanderbilt ain't the same.
Right.
So just off of that alone, we're not going to be able to straight up get the same players if we can't offer them a scholarship. So I think it evens that playing field. You get what I'm saying? So I don't think LSU's not really one of the ones where people looked at it like, oh, my God, you're giving LSU that opportunity. But schools like that has a high cost of being able to get into school, well, that they no longer they can't play that game. You know, now it's all the same.
Yeah, because I do know that like the out-of-state tuition for LSU isn't exactly cheap.
No, it's
like,
not.
yeah.
But I think that's everywhere out of state when it comes.
But it's not as expensive as Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Or Florida. I think Florida's expensive too. Georgia's expensive, I believe.
Yeah.
Georgia's hard to get into.
Mm-hmm. Unless you got a baseball scholarship.
What's the next one?
From Roosevelt Historia, History Pony, History _ Pony. I love these people. When do you think Washington will finally call up Dylan Cruz? Dylan Cruz with a walk-off. I guess you could call it a base hit.
I didn't see the video.
He sharp ground ball hit to shortstop. They tried to turn 2 and he threw it away.
Oh, so it was fielder's choice.
Yeah, he went to throw it to second and went awry. Like it was back. No, he dove, tried to flip it, went over the second baseman's head. The runner from second gets to third, goes to home, and slides in safely. Dylan Cruz gets the water bath, the whole thing, and he's hit safely, I think, in like 8 or 9 straight games, has a couple homers.
Yeah, I don't know.
Base a ton.
I don't know if we see him this year. I don't know what Washington's record is, but I don't know if they're not going to be in the playoffs, right? So they're not making this push. It used to be before they changed rules of the CBA that you could increase your roster in September to 40 guys. And so then when they would do that, they would bring some of these prospects that are already going to put on the roster maybe the next year. Hey, we're going to bring you up to kind of get some experience up here and kind of see it and get a feel for it, and just so the next year you'll be up. They don't have that anymore. You can't bring all 40 guys up there. So you're not going to have those extra at-bats and those extra roster spots to bring him up. So I don't know. I'm not sure you see him this year.
I think there's a couple factors. I don't think they're really in the playoff race. You're not going to have the extra roster spots. And I think that's the other big thing is the simple fact that he's not on the roster currently.
Right.
So they would have to lose someone on the roster or potentially lose someone on the roster if they don't clear waivers to be able to pull him up to the big leagues, which, like I know, like that's not anything a team is super interested in doing in a time that they don't necessarily have to make the move. So off of that alone, I think it's a long shot that he's up this year. But if they're super interested in, I guess, showcasing their future talent, if he gets super hot and he keeps going, they're super interested about bringing him up and James Wood up and having all these young kids up right now. It's a long shot. I just don't see it really happening this year.
Yeah.
But deserve it, probably.
I mean, in today's climate,
yeah,
by the end of the year, maybe, because they move people so fast. Before, I'd tell you no shot.
Right.
Wouldn't happen at all. He probably, I don't even know if he would be in AAA at this point. But in today's climate, man, maybe by the end of the year, yeah.
He had 5 home runs in AA and 51 and I lost it. 5 home runs in 51 games. He's got 4 home runs in 24 games in AAA. So starting to drive the ball to the ballpark, have an okay year. I'm not saying he's doing anything crazy.
No,
but
it's not the.
Why haven't they? You see people from this point in the season, if they finish out strong, you look up at it and you're like, damn. You can kind of change your season with these last 2 months. So, he can get hot and it could look way different in a month.
There's definitely some guys out there going, I just got to get hot for these last
Everybody
2 months.
That way.
Yeah, but there's people that 210. If I can get to 280.
Which is,
trust me, the guy hitting 280 is thinking, boy, if I get hot, I can finish at 310.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's got the same mindset across the league. It's one we all thought it. If you're hitting 210, you're like, if I get hot. If you're hitting 310, you're like, boy, if I get hot. Everybody thinks the same thing. It doesn't really matter what you're hitting. It's just how you go.
The last little stretch, you get that little extra second win. It's like, the minor leagues is usually about, let me get to these numbers. So you see people put up some goofy numbers in the last couple months.
It's about that 200 to 250, less than 300 at bat spot where it's, if I get hot, I can really make these numbers look different. Once you get over the 300 at bat spot, you got to basically go
nuclear.
Yeah, some shit I never seen before to make the numbers look different. So usually over 300 at bats.
Seen it once with Simeon.
No, he wasn't even at that. He was at at like it was at the All-Star break, and he wasn't over 300 at bats.
And what was he hitting?
Like 260.
And then what did he finish with?
And in 2 weeks he was hitting like 310. Yeah. So like just like stuff like that. But once you get over that 300 at bat mark, it's tough to make the numbers move without absolutely going nuclear. Yeah.
So I don't know. To answer your question, I do not know that we see him this year. I hope we do.
Don't shoot the messenger.
Okay.
And these are not make the weekend rotation candidates for the weekend rotation for LSU baseball.
I mean, Chase Shores, Cade Anderson. Was it Zach Cozart? What's his name? Not Cozart? Coward.
Cowan.
Yeah, Zach
Cohen?
Cohart.
And then you have
Carhart.
There's an art in there.
Cohart.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or W. Is it? There's a W in there, right? There's a W in there.
It's in the
Anyway,
ZAC.
he is one,
there,
and the kid from San Diego.
Yeah, he's one.
So that's 5, and then you got the freshman,
William.
And you got
William Schmidt, coming in there. Yeah, I mean those are probably the 5 or 6.
I would think those 5 have the inside track, right? That's the ones I would think that
Circled.
would get the most opportunity.
Yep. Next.
Last one up, Blake City. I will check the YouTube chat just to see. Blake City at I Run This City. Ask Mikey and Mitch, would either of you consider getting to coaching if Maneri or Jay called? I love how it's Maneri and Jay. Like that's just
Mikey got a call already. Oh, it's some bullshit, man.
I ain't call. No call.
Sitting on that offer, doors wide open.
No call. Honestly, I wouldn't do it. I love helping, and I would love to be back in the game. I don't really feel like I have the urge to coach. And if you don't have that, really urge to do it, you're not going to really do it as well as you want to.
Yeah, I got the urge to help. I don't have the urge to coach. I don't know if that makes any sense or if you can decipher the difference. Like I just don't.
Substitute teacher, not a teacher.
There you go. Yeah, I would.
This will be fun.
I'm cool with doing stuff like that. You can almost call me at any time of the day. I'd do something like that, but I just don't have the urge to really go out there and
careful,
coach
don't say
and do
call me
that.
until the day people are going to be doing that.
Well, they have my number, so.
Be surprised if people can find.
I can't tell you what to do.
But that's where I'm at with it, man. I enjoy being around the game. The game is still super fun to me. I enjoy seeing people kind of wanting to learn and grow in the game, but I don't have like the urge to just coach it and do it like that every day.
That's a different mindset. You know what I mean? Like to do something like that, like that's a different mentality. You have you have to want to do that. Like that's not something you just kind of do. Whatever.
Oh, I love baseball. I want to get into it. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of work that goes behind coaching, and if you don't get in the right situation, it's a grind.
It's not just a lot of work too. I don't think people understand. You're putting so much time into it, and you're putting your family about moving. Like there's a lot that goes into it. I'm just like, I did a lot of this as a player. I'm not sure I want to do it as
all
a
over
coach
again.
As well. Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot who it was from. I don't know who he signed with, but it was a rookie that just moved to the NFL. He just moved to camp, and all he had was his PlayStation and a TV. He's like, I ain't even got furniture. Like he just moved into his new home or whatever.
Yeah.
All he brought was the PlayStation and the TV. It made me think of y'all. You're like, just throw a TV in the back of the car. I don't know where we're going. But
That's
we're
what
going.
you do?
Yeah. I got my 2 things.
You literally like.
I'll tell you where to
Dude.
ship the car. The TV's in the back.
Here's the deal. You have Best Buy. I think it was Walmart, and this happens a lot.
I don't think you can do that anymore.
You can't.
I think
But they used to have the
yeah.
90-day return policy.
It's 3 months, coach. That's almost a season.
So guys will go there and get a TV, and they don't really want to spend all that money because they knew like, damn, I got to bring this back, and they go do it and they return it right before that 3 months period, and they do get another one.
I
And
used
do
to
it
see,
again. The season's over. You return right before you leave.
I used to see guys go like get nice ass TVs and never take any of the stickers or anything of it off, and just we were watching the TV on this, got everything ready, and the
Styrofoam
85-day
still on
mark
it.
is like, hey bro, we gotta pack this thing back up, bro. We gotta get this out of here.
Be careful. Careful with that box.
Seen
Wild.
Keep the styrofoam pieces on the side. I gotta fit
consistent,
this
baby.
thing.
Be-
Right?
Yes, but you got it like TV. Like you're in your when you're doing that, you're kind of away from your boys and doing all this kind of stuff. So you're in your apartment or your house a lot. It's like
Need one thing.
it's essential. You got get something to distract you.
Oh, snap. You going up to AA? You going up to AAA tomorrow? Hey, we got to return that TV before I leave, bro.
Yeah.
You got me? Got that receipt?
Hey, I'm gonna leave this for you. Can you do this for me? Or you can just keep it, but you gotta pay me back.
But you got to pay me back. One of the two. Seen it happen. Seen it happen a lot.
Yeah. Do we have any in the chat?
Yes, a couple more.
Look at that.
Ask Mikey and Mitch from Dex with an X. What was the hardest football team you played in high school and player on that football team?
The hardest?
Mm-hmm. You substitute hardest or best?
My freshman year. I was all of 13 years old still, and we decided I was going to be the starting cornerback on that team.
That's the tape that Saban saw.
Yeah, because he was watching Early Doucette play, not because he was watching me play. But we played St. Martinville that year, and Early Doucette was still on that team, and my God, they were good. I just remember being like, bro, what on earth is going on right here?
It was illegal.
Yeah, it was. He was a mixtape in high school, bro. So that was probably the one team I was like, bro, whoa, what just happened?
I'm glad you said that because I wasn't sure. Now I know exactly who it is. Sophomore year. Nope, I think so. I wasn't playing that year. I was a freshman, so we didn't. I wasn't on the team.
I did see him at your place. So.
Yeah, that was one of the crazy ones I watched. But my sophomore year, quarterfinals, we went up to Bastrop, and that's when they had Randall Mackey, Ruben Randall, D'Angelo Benton. The whole defensive line went SEC, and like we weren't. I mean, dude, my center was 200 pounds. Like.
That's better than mine. My center was 175 in high school.
Dude, it was not great. I did not have a great game. We actually missed a field goal to lose it at the end. And
how far?
34 yards. Our guy hit like 4 50-yarders throughout the course of the year. Just pushed it right.
How mad were you? Were you the whole?
Oh, dude, I wasn't mad. I was beat the fuck up.
Yeah.
Like. Dude, like
he was getting
I was two
cheeks tagged all day.
I was 2 of 14.
Oh, nice, dude.
Coach. Coach. Hey.
How'd you start off?
Hey.
Where'd that first completion come?
Dude.
2 of 14.
Hey. I was 2 of 14, and my offensive coordinator, who's now the offensive coordinator at UL, got on the thing. He said, hey, because our defense was good. He's like, defense is going to slow them down. We're going to end up – so defense scored a touchdown. We end up scoring another touchdown. Somehow I ran down. And then the last drive of the game, he got me on the headset and he said, hey, you're going to run left and you're going to run right and you're not going to throw the ball one time. Because – and I was like, damn. I was like, dude, I feel like either I'm not understanding what I'm supposed to be doing or these guys are getting to me super quick. Bro, I'll watch film. We watch film.
You're under center, too.
Yeah, well, some of these were out the gun. I had to be out the gun. There's no way I could get back. Dude, I would get the ball and get snapped, and my left tackle would not even try to get the guy coming. He would just turn back in, and I was getting just
blindsided.
Not good. We almost won. We lost, though. 2 of 14. 2 interceptions, too.
Oh, it's 4 of 14.
Oh, yeah, right.
Or so you're
stat
2.
line in the paper the next
Grandma's clipping it up.
Yeah, this was brutal. That was the hardest team I've ever played. I mean, they had like 8 guys go Division I.
Yeah, I'm gonna cheer for you on Saturday too.
And like not just like, oh, this guy's going to UL or Tulane or Southern Miss.
LSU,
no. Alabama, LSU. You have 2 5-stars with Ruben Randall and D'Angelo Benton. Like crazy. Nobody remembers D'Angelo Benton because he didn't play. He went to Auburn.
Wanted him though.
He was here at one point, and I don't think he could get in.
That's what it was. Couldn't get in.
Clearinghouse.
Yeah.
I'll throw my name in the hat. Nick Jacobs. Never saw him really play for LSU. He played his freshman year as tight end, but him against me, 11 me's, brutal. He played.
I can't imagine that was great for you.
He was the kicker.
How'd that feel?
Awful. Terrible. The worst. My head still isn't the same. Big knees.
But
So
he's the reason why we got today from you.
CTE of the day. Shane Gilla, shout out.
Shout out.
But he kicked off, but he had the who was the kicker for the Saints that had the Dempsey? He had the Dempsey cleat. He had the square toe cleat.
Oh, he just straight on.
Just straight on, kick it off, run down the field in one cleat, and just go knock heads. And we're like, what are we doing out here? Lost on a last second field goal.
There you go.
That's how it goes.
You all scrapped?
Yeah, we went on
that
2.
was good.
Went on 2 a lot. Played defensive end and tight end.
You?
No, he did.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you went on. I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, why would
Let's
they
get this
put
to
you at
first.
defensive end
Let's
and
get this
tight
to
end?
first and 5 and see if we can get to second. Then second and 5. Let's see if we can get a first down without actually hiking the ball.
Yeah, man. South Louisiana, you're gonna play some, or Louisiana, you're gonna play some
Play against Elwood.
guys.
You
He's a
played against
monster,
Al?
too.
Mm-hmm.
I was a big boy in high school, boy.
Still a big boy.
I was a large human.
He
Let me
was
tell
a
you that.
large human then.
Good night.
1A. I don't even know where he went. Somewhere they shouldn't have been.
They had a defensive tackle from Northside. He went to Tennessee. He was like 6'6", and they're in our district. I sent her 200 pounds. This guy's enormous. We had to run a quarterback sneak,
Bad call.
and he went over our center, and 2 hands slapped the ball like a volleyball out of my hand into the ground. Thank God it went right back into me. I just got on the thing. I came off and said, we
can't do that. We can't run a sneak.
I mean, he just steps over our center.
We
Like,
got,
there's
bro.
no
we
way.
got to get some of that Mikey high school tape in here, bro. This,
Oh, bro,
this
you
is
see my
sounding
ass
way
touching the
too-
ground. My center's so small.
sounding way
I've seen some clips.
Yeah, I got some good ones. It's just this guy. I'm looks like I'm sitting on the ground.
It's
This guy's so
incredible.
tiny.
Could have got called.
You had the big like Drew Brees dish towel, or like you had like a small towel.
No, I had the actual towel that goes to the belt. Yeah.
yeah.
the
you know-
Mike Winchell.
Yeah, you know, Drew like the whole bath towel.
Our uniforms were trash back then. Now obviously they're
Elite.
You
Like,
built
yeah,
it, man. You built
yeah,
that
that's
place.
right.
long sleeves.
You
and
built
shit.
that
I
place.
did,
You had
like-
the Jake Delhomme sleeves going.
You had to roll them up like you had to tape them up underneath, dude. It was awful.
That weird taper at the
And
end.
then you got the pants that are like, damn,
These don't fit
stiff as-
anybody.
stiff as shit. Like they're not. They're not very breathable.
He had the big knee pads
The
that was
big
all the
knee
way down.
pads.
His shin gone.
You had the old school
Belt?
hip pads popping out. The
Yeah. Mouthpiece dangling.
Oh my God! There's no swag on the field.
oh man.
Couldn't make it cool if you tried. Pulled the socks all the way
I
up.
gotta see some of this video, bro. I gotta
man,
see
didn't
some
have
of the
that.
video, some of the film. I need the film.
All right, couple more.
Okay.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are y'all for football home games this year?
50.
What is something that no one is talking about that we will learn during the season? Could be a player, etc. The next part's a great question.
What was the best second part of the
I'm
question?
at 50 excited for football
Yeah,
season.
always
tailgates.
on 10.
Yeah, give me 10. Football, I'm up
Nothing.
there.
Yeah.
What, give me
The
the
reason I'm here.
Give me the
besides
second part of the
work.
question.
What is something that no one is talking about that we will learn during the season? Could be a player, coach, etc.
Well, me,
Scheme.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna die on my horse. Our guy,
MT.
Kyle Parker. I think this guy somehow, and I'm just gonna stay on it because
So you're ditching Mason Taylor?
I think it's no. I mean, everybody. That's not like a surprise. I don't think. If you were expecting 1K from him, I'm not just the only one doing that. But receiver's a position that like has some question marks. You have guys that may be first in line, but I don't know, and I don't really have much of a reason other than my gut saying that this guy for some reason is gonna be good. I could be completely wrong, but nobody's talking about it. So
Something that nobody's talking about. I'm gonna go with, because of his history in coaching the position, because you now bring him back to lead the defense. You might actually have 2 legit Bash brothers running in the middle of the field on defense this year. I think Whit Weeks is a lot better than what people think. I think with so much attention that's going to be on how do we need to stop Harold, he's going to get an opportunity to run a little freer, especially if he gets some solid defensive line play up front. I think those 2 can actually be very productive this year. Very, very productive.
what?
At least 1 special teams touchdown.
You think?
I haven't seen it in a long time, but I've
haven't.
been in Tiger Stadium when it's happened and when
it's
it's
fun,
good,
isn't it?
and it is the most because you didn't know where you're finding your offense. Now you do have an
Who
offense.
is it? Xavier Thomas, right?
Xavier Thomas.
He's electric, bro.
All SEC returner,
He's electric. Yes, he is.
and it feels like you finally have that position solidified.
Yeah. The Xavier Thomas, Aaron Anderson thing is gonna be.
Put them both back there.
Yeah. The Xavier Thomas, Aaron Anderson thing is gonna be.
Put them both back there.
Wow.
And
Just let Xavier Thomas always catch it, and
yeah, throw it back, throw it across the field,
Yeah.
lay down.
yeah.
I will put one out there for you. This is my Ask Mikey and Mitch.
Oh,
Harold Perkins over under 2.5 interceptions.
I think he's over. I do, because I watched him last year at the end of the year, like covering
Ground.
everybody, and I'm like, damn.
I'm going under.
Okay.
But I don't think that means he's not effective in that part of the game. I just think it's going to be under, but I think you're going to get some pass deflections, but I just see him being able to play freer. He may force more fumbles than he actually
Over
catches
under
interceptions.
10 sacks.
Under.
You think?
Under.
8 sacks.
Don't change it now.
No, I mean I don't really. I'm thinking
That's not how Vegas works. Say, man, they're slamming this under.
10. I mean 8. You said under 10. Like, what's the
I'll
number?
say
What would be the number for you?
tackles for loss. I would put
No,
like,
sacks.
sacks
6?
4.5, 5.
That's what you would put the over-under at? Or that's
Yeah.
what you're saying he's going to?
Yeah, I'd say probably like 5 sacks. I would.
Oh,
think
he's over 5 sacks. I don't know if he'll get to 8. He's over 5 sacks. I just think you're going to see a lot more.
Shit, he got 3 in a game.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot more traditional linebacker from him this year. But when we get to obvious passing downs, they're going to let him, pin the ears back and let him ride. But I say over 5. Under
8
9.
seems great.
8 seems like a good number. 8 seems
7
like a
and a
real
half.
number.
Tackles for loss, we might be at like
This man
15.
changes over under 3 times.
Well, no, I was asking what y'all think.
I mean, he just literally slid the line like so
7
hard
and a
on
half.
us.
Windows closed.
Yeah, I had to talk to the
I
math
like
people.
talking it out.
Yeah.
Talking it out.
Yeah, how to get the line.
He has one more real
Okay.
quick, but I do like this college football conversation. Do you want me to ask it or keep it going? I'll ask it. Ask Mikey and Mitch. Who was the hardest pitcher you faced in either college or pro ball?
You go first.
I mean, it's probably because of the time that I faced him. It's impressionable at that time. Kind of the same thing like earlier said. Seeing him as a young freshman in high school, my freshman year, seeing a David Price was that impressive. He was probably one of the best arms, and obviously he went on to be a major league ace for a couple teams and for a long stint in the league. Actually, it's kind of weird the way he kind of, if you want to call it, fell off at the end of it, because I think he was underappreciated for what he did in the bulk of his career and how he had a pretty long bulk of his career. But David Price would be the name for me. And I faced a Garrett Cole right before he got called up, and David Price was the one for me.
Best pitcher.
Not who you struggled against.
I know that's
I saw the gears turning.
yeah, that's what I'm trying to like avoid, because that's what I go to.
I mean, you could have shelled the guy, but he was, well known as being one of the better arms in Major League Baseball. Or
The guy I'm talking about?
yeah, no, just to give it to you.
Oh, yeah. Hardest guy I've faced. I mean, I've said it before. Like, Chris Sales was up there. He just had a funky, and I was facing Chris Sales throwing almost 100 when he's throwing 100.
With the Bugs Bunny slider?
Yep. Like, that was probably it.
I think he's still doing that all now.
Yeah, he's back.
Back.
He's
He's
back.
still doing all of that right now.
That's probably him. And that's probably something that'll pop in my head, but
I had a couple spring training at bats against Aroldis Chapman too that were
yeah, he's tough.
very fun.
He is tough.
Those are a little different. There's a lot of assholes and elbows coming at you when he's throwing it.
Yeah.
He's very long and he throws
He's
100 plus.
Yeah.
And he's all of like 260, which
Yeah,
I don't think
he's
people know.
enormous.
Yeah, I don't think people know. Like, he is enormous.
Enormous.
Like, huge. He ain't
6'6", 260.
he ain't
and,
6'6", like
shredded.
215 and thin and no. That man is huge.
Yeah.
All natural. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's nasty too.
Yeah, and that has come up in conversation where the Yankees don't want to sign Jazz Ferguson because of quote-unquote probable or possible clubhouse issues. And somebody's like, didn't y'all have Aroldis
Jazz
Chapman?
Ferguson.
Yeah, from...
Chisholm.
I was like,
Who's Jazz Ferguson? Oh, they played for LSU.
I guess.
The
Definitely a
long
wide
snapper?
receiver.
I thought you were talking about the long snapper.
No, that's a different Ferguson. Got a whole litany. They got a colony of long snappers in that family.
No. So, what was that?
Jazz Ferguson went to LSU.
Yeah, okay, I don't know Chad.
Oh, yeah, then he went to Northwestern State. He was good. Lord, you talk about a kid.
That's how you really know Chad Ferguson.
Yeah,
Chad.
kid in a candy store.
Yeah, I bet.
3rd and 35.
Jazz.
Throw
But
it
yeah,
to Jazz.
Jazz Chisholm doesn't want to go there because clubhouse issues.
Sneaky hard name to say.
But he's not. Yeah, you're right. I mean, they had Aroldis, but they don't have him anymore.
Yeah,
Maybe
but
that's
then
what
you
they're trying
say
to
they're
do.
not even interested in signing him because of
Because they've learned a lesson.
I don't think
from
Jazz
Aroldis.
does anything in the clubhouse. I think they just don't like his silly.
He's a lot of show. You're signing on for a lot, and then, here's the thing. I guess for him, when it comes to that conversation, is you love what he can kind of bring. Extracurricular side is just when you do bring that much, the play on the field's got to meet it for it to make sense for other teams to get into it, and I think that's kind of where the road meets the brick for him right now.
Yep.
All right, that is it for Ask Mikey
right.
and Mitch. Thank you.
We
for
appreciate
all your
y'all.
questions.
Thanks for coming alive and helping us out. I mean, with that note, we can go straight to the seggies if you want.
Yeah, give me 1 second. I had to delete them all from the vMix and the computer but we're back.
Hey, so have y'all seen
Streaming
that thing
strong.
about the UCLA coach?
That's what the mistake of the day
Well, look
is.
at that. I honestly didn't even see your mistake of the day. Look, there you go. All right.
I think he got a little shooketh by the arena he walked in and being like he walked into a big ballroom. I don't know if that's what he was prepared for. But your mistake of the day brought to you by Doe's Eat Place. It is restaurant week. If you want to pop in at Doe's Eat Place, get a little.
Only this week though, right?
Yeah, get
out of town this weekend.
You still got Thursday, Friday?
No, I'm leaving on Thursday night.
Oh, well, maybe I'll do it for you for lunch. But get a side salad, appetizer, 2 types of entrees, dessert.
A little date night.
A little date night. Or just go by yourself and not have to worry about anything. Just unbutton the pants, let it rip.
Emotionally eat if you need to.
Yeah.
Okay. Mistake of the day brought to you by those guys at
Doe's Eat Place.
Is
one Deshaun Foster. Is this the Deshaun Foster that played running back in the league?
I don't know.
I believe it is. He's a UCLA alum.
Yeah,
they brought him in to be the head coach.
Yeah, he is.
And this is his first appearance at the now Big Ten Media Day as UCLA has changed conferences. And I am filibustering as, here we go, as the internet. But I sound like Deshaun Foster right now.
Buffering.
It's buffering. But he took to the podium for what would be his introduction to the world as a head coach. And this is how it went.
Great filibuster by you.
Thank you.
I'm happy to be here. Glad to be a part of this great conference. Finally putting 2 great emblems together, UCLA and the Big Ten. We're a school that's won, 123 championships, so this fits us being right in this conference. Football-wise, we're just excited. You know, I'm sure you guys don't know too much about UCLA, but our football program, but we're in LA.
Yeah, it's tough. Okay. He's gonna be able to put it.
It's us and USC. We
he's like, damn, you've never just lost train of thought.
I'm just basically excited, really. That's it. Any questions? In a second.
Should have got to those questions much faster.
Yeah.
You got to know when it's. I mean, that happens even. I'd imagine, like I said, probably a little shell shocked the first time being out there as a head coach, media, and you're like, you walk out there, you think you know what you're going to say, you think you know you're going to lead it off, and you're like, I forgot what I was going to say, and now I'm just up here. And it happens sometimes in this profession, but not nearly that setting.
That's tough because you're there for a specific reason.
He didn't talk about football at all.
No.
Didn't have one good thing to say about UCLA football. So everybody in the Twitter replies was slam the under.
That's a tough one. That is a tough one. That's a good mistake of the day. He's not. Hopefully, he has a lot. He's gonna have a lot more opportunities to make that better.
He for sure has 12.
You're right. All right, let's get to the curtain calls brought to you by our friends at Assured Partners.
And
me.
Go ahead, boys.
I'll lead it off because it's very dry out on the battlefield at this point, or the playing field, if you will. But what's not about to be dry is the beginning of this year's Olympics starting tomorrow. Opening ceremonies start. Well, they actually have some that are starting now, but to the Olympics and to all the athletes competing in the Olympics, because you spend a large portion of your life training to get this opportunity. I can only imagine that it's probably a very, very special feeling. So my curtain call is to the Olympics, the beginning of the Olympics, and to all the athletes participating in the Olympics. Boom.
Boom. Boom.
Boom.
My curtain call. My curtain call is they are to our boys for sticking it to the man, Lloyd, and negotiating for more money than they were allowed to be given. To Gage Jump and Tommy White, both got paid. Both get are one step closer to fulfilling their dream of being in the big leagues, and more guys for us to watch.
Curtain call to
and Herring as well. Yes. Go ahead.
sign for above slot.
There you go.
And I think it was only
It was significantly above slot.
no. Who was the not Gage John? Oh, Luke Holman was the other one to go.
He was below slot.
Below slot.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I feel like you know what you're getting, and that's yeah.
Right.
Also, was he wasn't a senior, was he? He was a junior.
He's a junior.
Yeah. Okay. Curtain call to Keon Coleman. I don't know if you saw this.
Oh.
But
Yeah.
you drafted a Louisiana Cat, you're going to get some content.
Yeah.
And Keon Coleman is signing his first official NFL contract. I don't know who he's talking to, but it looks like...
He's going to be a sensation.
No,
He's
you
going to
wouldn't
be
film
all
this.
over
They didn't film this for
commercials,
everybody.
dude. Yeah.
And Keon Coleman didn't know which signature to put
I
on
hope
the
he's
dotted
so
line.
good.
Me
I hope
too.
I hope he's the best rookie receiver outside Malik Neighbors in the NFL.
And Brian Thomas.
Because it just seems like he's going to be very entertaining.
He might get mic'd up his first game.
They're going to keep a camera in his face.
Yeah,
if he
no
balls
doubt.
out this year.
No doubt.
And they should, because he is.
Yep, entertaining.
Popcorn.
Like very wholesomely.
Yeah, it's not forced.
Yeah.
He legitimately was asking, do I sign my whole name or my signature? And the guy it looks like he's talking to a librarian. He's like, I don't understand the question. He's like, do I sign my signature or like my real name? Because Keon's like, I don't want to make sure I mess this up on my
Right,
end.
which is it's a
Legitimate
great question though, because your real name is different than what your signature is.
It's like when you fill out those forms, like put your
Nobody's
full
writing their
legal
name in,
name,
like,
and it's like,
cursive.
do I put my middle name?
He you know what I love about him? He's not afraid to ask the questions that everybody's like, I
Yes.
probably shouldn't ask.
Yes.
Let me just act like I know it. Let me figure it out. He's like, nah, dog, I'm asking. I don't care.
Right.
I respect that out of him.
That was my role in like the college during like whenever they gave like tests or quizzes for like the whole.
You'd ask the common question that really wasn't like
Well,
as
no,
clear.
it would be those and like, does anybody need more time? And everybody was scared to put their hand up, be like, dog, me right here, and everybody's like, thank you so much. And I was like, oh yeah, dude, what are they gonna do? Like tell me no? Or why'd they ask?
Right.
And so that turned into my role. So I got a lot of help around me.
I think Keon Coleman's gonna be a baller though.
Yeah, too athletic not to be, but I hope he is for his sake because then he's gonna become a joke.
Well, and they got rid of Diggs, which
Yeah.
by the way I forgot Diggs is in Houston, and so I saw him like, oh boy,
Can't wait for him to.
I forgot. Their receiving core may be one of the best in the league now.
Tank Dell.
Him, Tank Dell, and Big 86. What's his name? Collins.
Nico
Collins.
And they have
Schultz, who got pancaked by Derek Stingley.
yeah, that was a if you didn't know he went to private school, that proved everything that you think about private school kids. I don't know how to fight, but I'm mad.
You got him. He kind of caught him off guard.
That's what I'm saying. That's sneak.com.
Yeah.
And they got Jody Joe Mixon in the backfield.
Yeah, and they got Joe Mixon in the backfield. Wow.
Did you see old Hard Knocks? Whatever, he's like, they're going through the list of busts in the first round at quarterback. Like they went all the way back like 10 years, I believe.
Yeah.
And he's like, Dayball was like, give me a Stroud. And then the GM who drafted Josh Allen's like, or Josh. He's like, bruh, you don't quit trying to prove yourself.
Yeah.
That man is nervous.
Josh Allen?
No.
Oh,
Shad.
Shane.
Shane.
Yeah, he is. Well, I mean, he knows it. Like, he knows this is. If they don't do well, they don't have patience in New York. If they've got to see some sort of progression, if they can see like a step forward, then he may get himself another year.
I think if you thought he was nervous in what he sees now, the perception or the reception, I should say, of how everyone's digesting this stuff, he's way more nervous now.
Lombardi
Because
is
they
on
are
a
going to
war
cook
path.
him if they're not great. He's way more nervous now. I promise you that. And I don't even necessarily think he's terribly wrong.
Yeah,
I don't think
I
his
was about to say,
delivery.
I agree.
I don't think his delivery is very good, and he's very. I don't think he's super conversational the way he talks to some of these people about how he's going to make these decisions and insightful of what he's trying to do. But the reception of it ain't very good at all, and he's going to be the fall guy.
Because I think that what he's doing is I don't disagree with it. I mean, I think Saquon's great. I think he's probably going to be great in Philly, and they would love to have him. It had nothing to do with how good he was. It just has everything to do with, hey, like for what we need to make our team better, we have got to spread that out amongst other people because we saw what happens when we had not the other people and you. Like we weren't good, and that's not your fault. That just makes us realize you have more pieces. And so I think I agree with him on that.
Yeah, it just reminds me a lot of the oldest brother, or the second oldest brother in Succession, where he's like...
I started watching, I stopped watching, I gotta watch that show.
But you know what I'm talking about, right? The guy that thinks he's going to take it over, he's like been groomed and wants to make his dad so proud, and he keeps getting walked all over, and he doesn't understand why he's getting walked all over. Reminds me a lot of that.
Yeah.
Big people pleaser, this guy.
Yeah.
Where like even for trades and decisions, he's like, well, I floated it out there and just wanted to see what you were thinking. If it's a no, that's fine.
What do you think about the part where he asked his whole family who they wanted?
His son is the smartest one in the room.
I didn't care about that. I think that
I didn't really care about it, but for some reason, I feel like that actually held a little bit of weight in his mind. That's where, for me, it kind of gets a little weird. Like, I'm not saying that he made a decision, but like I feel like that was like,
Let me get the pulse of what outsiders are thinking that aren't in the
building. I didn't get that feeling, but that's just the way that's the way I looked at it. Everybody looks at it a different perspective. I thought it was just for like fun.
Yeah, for the show and its father. Whatever.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's cool. It's fun. I 100% think that too. But the type of person he is, the people pleaser, I think it might have actually held a little bit of weight in his mind.
Legitimately is a guy like everybody in this room has a voice.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's just me.
Throwing the football like, get Jaden, dude. You know, he was telling him like, you only get this job once. He's like, even if his son thinks he's gonna get fired.
That's the thing is like if they felt like they could get to number 2, they would get to number 2. But they knew Washington's not getting rid of because they
don't need quarterbacks.
Yeah, they're not getting rid of number 2, and they knew 3 wasn't gonna get Jaden. So like, you know, I don't think. I mean, if they say they like Drake May, I think it was either Jaden or we're gonna go receivers.
And he was right. Romaduze was available at 9.
Yep.
Because you saw the Bears move up to take him.
Yep.
So you could have gotten it. I don't think it was worth a second and a third to not have Malik.
Right.
I think it's so funny to me how all of those conversations transpire, and we just sit back and watch. Like, if Malik is there, take him. And it's like you don't understand, like kind of like we were saying earlier, like we could move back. No, but I'm saying like when you just look at the draft board, like these 3 are taking quarterback.
Yeah, right.
Joe Alt's probably going next, and then you have your pick of either Marvin Harrison or.
But then you don't expect what happens on the back end.
Right. You're like I would be such a bad GM. I'd be like, oh, dude, we're good. We'll sit right here. It's like, well, you could have traded back and then got a Dunze and 2 more picks. Like, oh, I didn't play that scenario out in my head at all.
Right.
Like, just give me Malik at 6 and we're good.
Right. Yeah, it's wild. I think it was a cool perspective. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens next week. So whenever they actually draft Malik.
Yep.
All right. That's all we got for you today.
You need to get that internet.
On this beautiful, I know. On this beautiful Wednesday. Stay dry. We'll be back next Monday. No show Friday. I'll be out of town. Jay may be out of town as well. We don't know. Lloyd, that means day off for you.
Kind of.
Lloyd gonna be grinding in the cellar.
That's
right.
right.
Man ain't gonna see the light of day on Friday.
See if they can zoom me into this meeting. Put me on a conference call.
Just like it's gonna last 20 minutes, dude.
Yeah, I'll catch the cliff notes. No, I'm gonna come in with an iron fist.
No, dude, I just need you. I need you to do that for me.
I will.
Okay. Like do it real. Like don't just like
suit and tie.
No, don't just show up because like I want you to show up. You know, don't go to class just because you're getting class checked. I want you to like
be active.
Yeah.
Be a leader.
Participate.
Be a leader.
Don't sit in the back row. Sit in the front.
Exactly.
Yeah. Be early.
But no show Friday. We'll be back live in studio on Monday from 6 to 8 p.m. Enjoy the opening ceremonies of the Olympics. Enjoy soccer. Olympic soccer is great to watch. I think there's rugby going on too, you said, right?
Mm-hmm. Sevens.
Which is crazy because you don't get to see a lot of rugby here, but rugby's a wild sport. People smush people.
A lot of tackling. A lot more full contact than you think.
No helmets.
No helmets. No pads.
That's crazy to me. No helmets.
Them boys know how to tackle there.
CTE, not great.
I think they got those.
The skull caps? Yeah, that's going to help.
Yeah, no.
They're
all like 6'3", 240 and can run like 4'6".
Their injury rate's a lot lower than NFL though.
Yeah, which is crazy, huh?
Form tackling,
bro. They actually do it.
Yeah, true.